What's going on, y'all? It's Jamal McCant from the 140 Plus Sports Twitter. Some of you know me from there. Some of you might know me from Facebook. I thought about starting a YouTube. I've been thinking about starting a YouTube page for a very long time, and I'm finally getting around to getting it done. The problem is I'm such a perfectionist that I wanted to have everything in order for you guys before I started the page, but just talking to so many different YouTubers, the one thing that they've told me to do was just get your feet in, just go ahead and start it. Worry about the technical aspects later, especially with me being an NBA capper. I don't want you guys to miss out on so many games while I'm just getting my setup ready and all of that kind of stuff. That's unimportant. What we're trying to do right now is find some value in these games before the season ends, because, or at least probably until the regular season ends, because when the finals and the playoffs and the finals start, a different level of thinking goes into how we bet those games. I've been betting for about, I want to say, 15 to 16 years. I've had some really good periods, and I've had some really bad periods. It's up and down. It's a roller coaster. Anybody who's been betting for a long time will tell you that. So I'm not here to sell you a dream and tell you you can get rich quick overnight. Can you get rich quick, or can you become rich from sports betting? I don't want to say no, but the methods that most people teach you, which is proper money management, you're not going to really get rich that way. The idea that you're going to go from broke to being worth $1 million, probably the same odds as you walking into a casino and playing a slot machine. So what's better to say is, this is a better way of just to manage the money that you do have. So if you have a job, which I consider a form of an engine to generate, money for you, this is a way to invest your money and to help it grow. A lot of people play in the stock market and things like that, and they get decent returns. But if you're really good at sports betting, you can have even better returns. And the good thing about sports betting is you are the market. When you put your money into, let's say, Tesla or Apple or something like that, you don't really have much control over what happens. I mean, you can guess, and hopefully you guess right, and eventually over time you're going to win some money or make some money. But when it comes to sports betting, it's really based on you. You are the market. If you wake up and you're in a bad mood and you don't feel like handicapping any games, that's going to have an effect on how you choose your games. If something's going on in your life that's really affecting you, you are the market. You know what I'm saying? So clear your head, drink some coffee or whatever. If you smoke, whatever you do. I'm not knocking anybody. Just make sure, if you do crack or something, whatever. But get up, get to it. Clear your head, get to it. You are the market. If you're very good at this, if you have a $100,000 bankroll, you should not have to work anymore, betting 1 to 3% of your bankroll. So use your job to generate that income to get you to that $100,000. Don't expect to come into sports betting with a $500 bankroll and to make $100,000 in a month or even a year. It takes with proper money management, it takes a very long time to do that. Now, have I seen guys come into this game and hit a 4 or 5 teamer off of a $600 or $700? Yeah, I had a guy who was out of state. He was giving me money. He would only show up, once a month. Drop me at $500, tell me what he wanted, and then this guy would hit at an alarming rate. You know what I'm saying? He'd cash out $6 to $7 grand, and he'd be gone for a month. He'd come back, he'd do the same thing. And I always thought, man, why don't this guy just do this for a living? I mean, he's pretty good. What you don't see is a lot of the losses. A lot of guys play those parlays. The vast majority of them do not win at a high rate. So the times you do win, you're really just collecting money from the money that you've lost. It's all breaking even. So can some guys come in the game and hit a 9-teamer, a 10-teamer. Yeah. Most of the time I go to the sports book out here, and I'm in Las Vegas. Most of the time I go to the sports book, I'm talking to some guy who has a 10-teamer or some ridiculous amount of games on one card, and they all have to hit. And if he hits them, yeah, starting off with a nice little bankroll. But I'm not going to tell you to plan that way. What I'm going to tell you is keep your job. This is your passion, right? Put everything you want into, I mean, not everything you want, everything you can spare into your betting account, you know, and build your bankroll that way. And then use compound interest to gauge how much you're going to bet on your games. So if I'm betting, you know, let's just say I had $100,000 for a bankroll, and I'm betting $1,000, which is 1% of my bankroll. You know, if I can manage to profit 6 or 7 units a month, you know, which is 6 or 7 grand, you know, that's pretty good, especially out here. You can live off of that. Now, I'd probably be more aggressive with my bets. I'd probably be betting probably 2 to 3%. And if I really like the game, I mean, it's hard to gauge which ones are really you really like, but if I really like a game, I might go 5%. But if you're betting 10% per game, understand that a bad stretch is going to clean you out. You don't want to be that aggressive when you're betting on games. So build your bankroll up. Get you an engine, which I call a job, or if you drive Uber on the side, or whatever you do. Everything you make from that you do not have to use for bills and your lifestyle, put it into betting. If it's $50 a check, if it's $20 a check, if it's $100, if you have $200 to $300 to spare, if you really don't have a place where you have designated that extra cash, put it into your betting account, because the more, if you're using compound interest, the more you have in your bankroll, more you have for your bankroll, the more you can bet. All right, so that's important. Before we get into any games, I wanted to break down that aspect and that thinking before we even go into any games, because you got a lot of guys who they have an extra $200 and they're going to put $200 on a game, and win or lose, that's a gunslinger mentality. You might win the game. It happens a lot, but you might also lose. And if you're trying to, like me, I don't like working. I love my job. Don't get me wrong. If I'm going to work, I love what I do. But the aspects of having to be somewhere every single day, 5 days a week, or however many days you work a week, and you have to clock in and clock out, that aspect of working does not sit right with me. It never has. So I'm always looking for a way to climb out of the rat race. So one day I was just thinking, you know, what am I good at? Because I don't want to have to clock into work every single day or whatever, and that be the only way I generate money. So I was like, I love sports. So let me try to find a way to really buckle down and invest into this, as opposed to I just want a game to be interesting to me, so I put some money on it. No, I want to turn this into a business. And this is probably, I've been betting for about 15, 16 years, but I started thinking that way a couple of years ago, as to, you know, opposed to just throwing some money on the game because I'm bored. Because once you start betting on sports, watching games becomes kind of boring. You know, if you don't have money on a game, you're not really as interested as you were like as a kid growing up. And adversely, you can watch a sport or a game that you have no interest in because you have money on it. I don't like hockey. It's not a sport that I like watching. But if I have money on a hockey game, it's a little more interesting to me, right? So we want to turn this into a business or an investment tool, as opposed to just betting on whatever just to make the game interesting. So I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. one of the things I do want to do on this channel is not just come on here and tell you guys what to take. I want to get you guys to understand the process that I go through. And I probably won't do that every video, because every video will be extremely long. But at least the initial videos that I post, I'm going to be actually in live form going through the websites and thinking out loud and telling you guys what I'm doing, what I'm looking at, how I gauge a bet, and how I determine which ones actually have value enough for me to take. All right. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this channel. I hope we get some feedback going back and forth. Right now, all of this stuff is free. I will go into a video on what I think about touting services and the difference between a legit one to me and one that I would not put my hard-earned money into. All right, so many topics to talk about. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys subscribe and hit the bell. I am an NBA capper. I'm doing better in college basketball this year than I'm doing in the association NBA. I do NFL. I have a positive record in NHL, I believe, and in soccer. MLB is my one trouble spot, but we're going to figure that out together. If you guys have any pointers for me in terms of Major League Baseball, I'm willing to talk. You guys can go to my Twitter and engage. I try to respond to whoever. I don't really get a whole lot of interactions on there, but even if I was, I will try to respond to as many people as I can. And let's get this money, y'all. All right, so have a good day, and look forward to new videos from me. Now I'll peep y'all out later.